Well, good afternoon. All sports, all plays. This your boy Freddie and my co-host Jonathan Mathis. What's going on, Jonathan?
Hey, what's going on, Freddie? Sorry, I'm a little dark today. I can't find good lighting right now. So, you know,
Hey,
and I'm sitting in the most comfortable spot of my home, which is my recliner, and I don't feel like moving. So,
it's all good. It's all good. Hey, this is just say the truth, you guys. Normally we come on the evening time, but me and Jonathan figured, so hey, why not go early today? So we so excited to bring what we have had to bring you today to cover all the playoff matchups of the game twos. We have some going on this evening, had some played yesterday, and man, but I say that we had some games played on yesterday. We had some amazing basketball, and well, at least two of the games. But first, let's get right into it. The first one of the night on yesterday, it was the Boston Celtics going against the Brooklyn Nets. Of course, the Brooklyn Nets big three. They beat the Boston Celtics pretty easily, but I'm going to go with Jonathan on this. Jonathan, what's your thoughts on that game?
man, you know what? Boston, I've said it time and time again, they're an undersized team. They don't match well against the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets just have too much firepower. They have guys that can play. They have three superstars on that roster. And, Kevin Durant is one of the best players in the game. Kyrie Irving, when he wants to play, he puts on a show, So, I mean, coming into this series, you kind of knew that Boston wouldn't be able to hang with, the Nets, let alone persevere in the playoffs. And then Jason Tatum, man, he's gonna have to step up and take some responsibility as a leader on that team. But I just don't think that he has the leadership qualities. It's just not in him to be a leader of that team. So I wasn't really surprised to see the Nets come out and explode like they did because that was an offensive explosion, what we saw. And quite frankly, my friend, I got so bored that I turned the game off. It was nothing else to really see after the first half. The game was basically over by the end of the first half, and the Brooklyn Nets just couldn't, cut into the deficit. I think that the Nets delivered the knockout blow fairly quickly. And after that, the Boston Celtics wasn't able to settle in. They weren't able to find a rhythm, and they're going to have to do that if they want a chance in this series. But you know what? This series looked like it has a sweep written all over it. It looks like that Boston is done.
We have a comment. Eric said, "This man just said Jason Tatum isn't a leader. You okay, my guy? You feeling all right?" Eric, what I think he's saying is, I think he's saying he don't feel like Jason Tatum can. Not that he's not a leader. He can't feel like he can be the best player on a championship team, where he can lead that team. Against no matter what's through adversity, give them a win. And I mean, hey, when you have 9 points in a playoff game, you're supposed to be that guy. That's unacceptable. Jason Tatum. I mean, we definitely understand what he's going against. Okay, it's like the Philadelphia 76ers. I said it last night when Allen Iverson is going against that Laker team that was with a whole bunch of monsters. Nobody expected the 76ers team to beat LA, but guess what? Allen Iverson still won at least one game. He still went out there and balled every night, and that's all we really want out of Jason Tatum. We don't expect him to beat the Brooklyn Nets.
Right.
So, Eric Holmes also said, in today's age, nobody can do it alone. Yes, he needs to take over, but he's most definitely a leader. Yes, Eric. We're gonna.
I don't see the leadership qualities though. That's it. It feels like something on that Boston team is missing. I don't know if there's a lack of chemistry. I don't know what it is. I know we know that they're undersized, but it just feels like that. There's something missing in that locker room. And since Jaylen Brown went down, I feel like he was more of the leader. The guy that they kind of rally around. The guy.
Well, Jonathan, this team's been up and down all year this year. It's not the players' fault. It's not Jason Tatum's fault because he's had a phenomenal year. Him and Brown have both had a good year this year. But what's going on with the Boston Celtics is that Danny Ainge has failed this team. He has failed this team by putting pieces around Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. He has failed them. Hey, when Kyrie Irving was there, when he was playing for Boston, he was the scapegoat. Okay, Kyrie's gone now. So who's to blame now? Sometimes, these organizations want to blame these other players, but they need to blame themselves. Hey, Eric, I was just about to get to that. So I definitely think by the end of their season, I expect Danny Ainge to be fired, and I wouldn't be surprised if Brad Stevens be gone. The reason why I say Brad Stevens could be on, he's a good coach. But this team needs a new voice. They've been hearing the same voice for too long, and they have yet to progress and get better.
Well, if Danny Ainge goes, Brad Stevens is definitely gone as well. I don't think a new regime would want to come in and would inherit Brad Stevens. I think they would want to go with their own guy, and I think Brad Stevens has just, his time has run out there in Boston. And like you said, sometimes you need a new voice in that locker room, and maybe that's the direction that the Boston Celtics need to consider going in. Is it time for a new general manager? Is it time for a new guy to take charge in that front office and, help rebuild this team to be a contender once again? Because the Boston Celtics, man, they're not used to lackluster play. They're not used to having mediocrity. They're not used to years of.
Are you sure?
They're kind of like us, man. They like to win. They like to be put in a winning situation. And
Jonathan. I'm gonna tell you something you might didn't know this. Who else?
I want to see a Celtic Laker final again. Hey, I'm just saying.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you something you might not know. This. People always say, before last year, before the Lakers won the championship, they always used to say, "Oh, don't you know Boston have more championships than the Lakers?" I say, by number wise, yeah, but do you know in the modern day era that the Lakers have won more championships than the Boston Celtics? I'm talking about in the shot clock era. It's not even close. Yeah, okay, you can miss me on that one. All right, but let's move to the next game. We both agree Boston Celtics. It'll probably be a sweep. Well, it is more than likely going to be a sweep, but there's another game that could be a sweep. There's the possibility of being a sweep that we did not expect. And I'm gonna skip the first LA team. I'm going to the basement dwellers. We talking about the Los Angeles Clippers against the Dallas Mavericks. And ladies and gentlemen, did we expect this? Last year, remember last year. This is the same Maverick team that gave them trouble in the playoffs last year in the bubble. But if they did not throw out Kristaps Porzingis, we don't know where that round would have went to. Okay, and then let's not forget they hurt Luka. They stepped on the dude's ankle. That's the only way they advanced in that series. But look at hold again. We are here again this year. If you remember the last two games of the season, the Clippers said we ducking. We don't want to play against the Lakers. We don't want to play against them the first round. And my mama always tell me, what goes around comes around. And it looks like it's coming back around on them as of so far. We've seen Dallas come into their home. Well, the home that they share with us Lakers. They come to the basement just and beat them twice. I mean, that's kind of different for a team that's supposed to have two of the best wing defenders in the game since Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. They can't stop one man. and Luka Doncic. I mean, he's just kicking their behinds. Jonathan, what do you think about that game, this series, bro?
Well, Luka's on a different level. I mean, he's in a league of his own. You know, he has emerged into a superstar talent. He's one of the top guards in this league, and he's made his name really known. He's made his presence felt, and he's made his name known in the league. You know, this guy is scary. He's still young. He's not even in his prime yet. I would say, you know, but I mean, the man is balling right now, and he could single-handedly dominate the Clippers. I think the Clippers are done. Look, it should come as no surprise that the Clippers are down 0-2 in this series. And yes, they should be hitting the panic button. You know, their season is on the line. You know, they're in jeopardy of getting swept, you know, if they don't turn it around sometime soon. It's not really surprising because we saw what happened to the Clippers last year. They performed a choke job against the Denver Nuggets. They had a 3-1 lead in the series, and they coughed it up, you know, and they basically vomited all over themselves, and they couldn't, you know, find a way to get it done with two of the best superstars in the game in Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. You know, so I think the Dallas Mavericks, maybe not on paper, but in reality, from what we've seen so far, they're the better team.
And maybe this team is not as built, you know, as built to this deep as we thought they were. Everybody keeps saying, "Oh, this Clippers team is built from top and bottom. It is a loaded team. They got a whole bunch of depth." But this is going on. One man is kicking their behind. One man has got them 2-0-2. One man. You know, last year, Doc Rivers was the scapegoat. Jonathan, will there be a scapegoat this year, or are we having to put a lot of blame on Kawhi Leonard's shoulders?
Well, I would place the blame on Kawhi Leonard because where has he been? He's been non-existent. He's been absent in this series, and they brought him to LA to be that same player that you saw in Toronto, the guy that led Toronto to the NBA Finals and their only NBA championship. That's the Kawhi Leonard that the Clippers wanted. They haven't seen that Kawhi Leonard yet. So I think now that there's no Doc Rivers around, I think the blame falls in the laps of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George too. He carries a heavy weight on his shoulder as well.
All right. Let's move to the next game. You know, on Sunday, Anthony Davis put up a horrible game. He didn't play good at all. He had like 13.7 rebounds, shot like 30% from the floor. It was horrible. But on yesterday, the Los Angeles Lakers played against the Phoenix Suns in Game 2. The Lakers won 109-102. Okay. But let's read some stat lines. Anthony Davis played 40 minutes.
Hey, I hate to cut you off. You kind of breaking up a little bit.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly now.
All right. Mr. Anthony Davis gave us 34, 7, and 10. And LeBron, who Jonathan Mathis said is washed up. Father Time became. He's too old. He can't do it no more. And I told him, Jonathan, just relax. Just relax. You'll see. And LeBron didn't take no time to respond. He didn't take no time to show us that why he's still the best player in the game. And he went for 23, 9, and 4. And then did you see that alley-oop from Davis to LeBron, that one-hand dunk? Ooh. Hey, man. And they got help. And they got help from Mr. Andre Drummond. Gave him 15 and 12. 15 and 12. Just so dominant. Oh, DeAndre Ayton wasn't doing what he was doing in Game 1. And then Dennis Schroeder gave us 24, 3, and 3. And that's what we need. You know what, Jonathan? Devin Booker still gave us a good game on yesterday. You know what? I'm gonna I'm gonna pull up what he did on game 1 to let you see how the Lakers did not make this dude impactful. They didn't let this dude make a statement in this game. They basically said, okay. So game 1, he gave us 34-7. Last night he gave us 31-1. So I mean he was still scoring, but it wasn't as impactful because I believe with them not having CP3 on the court, it's too much on Devin Booker's shoulder to win the Lakers, to win the series. So if I say it's going 6, I wouldn't be surprised to go 5. Jonathan, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, if the Lakers perform like they did yesterday and they come out early and they set the tone like they did in that game and they are able to execute on both ends of the floor like they did yesterday, this series is over in 5. I don't see the series going beyond 5 games. If the Lakers, have a collective effort like they did yesterday, Andre Drummond, he was good inside the paint. He was effective down low. And then you had LeBron James who turned it on. And he responded quite well with, a solid performance overall. And then you have AD who had a terrible performance but had a impressive bounce back performance yesterday. So, I mean, you know what? The Lakers, if they play like this, and I think they will coming back home because now they have all the confidence in the world coming back to the Staples Center and they'll be playing in front of their fans. And, I just think the Lakers definitely, if they play balanced on both ends of the floor, they will beat the Suns. And now without Chris Paul, that changes the whole dynamic of the series for the Phoenix Suns. And I just don't think Devin Booker has enough to carry the weight on his shoulders.
I agree. So, I hear you, but without CP3, I'm not sure how far Devin Booker can take this team because we've seen that. I mean, it sucks, because you don't want to see nobody get hurt. It sucks to see CP3 hurt in the playoffs, especially on this team. Where they could make some noise. It sucks, but without him, I'm not sure that Booker can do too much because clearly it's a lot for him to bury. Let's talk about this game Joel mentioned. He said, watch Knicks tonight. They'll step up and win. Hey, I'll let you go, John. What you think on this Knicks and Hawks game? Game 2.
I'm muted. Sorry. Look, hey man, I'm gonna say this. The Madison Square Garden tonight is gonna be electric. It's gonna be wild in that building. It's gonna be so lit in that building that Trae Young might get ran out of that building after tonight's game. You know what? I expect Julius Randle to have a better performance than what he did in game 1. I mean, he had a subpar performance. I think he'll bounce back tonight. Great players find a way to respond to adversity. And I think this is his night to shine under the lights at the Madison Square Garden in front of that wild fan base out there. I think the Knicks will tie the series tonight. I think it'll be a great series. I think it'll be a close game because, look, you can argue that the Hawks are more talented than the Knicks. You can argue that. They got guys on that team that can play over on the Atlanta side. So, I mean, and then Nate McMillan, I can't give him more than enough credit, man, for what he's done to turn this around for the Hawks. Man, it's been a massive turnaround for them since he has taken over. And look, they got to the playoffs and they have done quite well. Was able to win game 1 against the New York Knicks, but I think the Knicks will come back stronger tonight. And I expect Julius Randle to have a better performance. Don't think he's gonna have 2 bad performances. You rarely see that from a guy as good as Randle.
Okay. Hey, my thoughts on the game real quick is, that game is going to go. I think it's going to be a close game all night. Man, one thing we have to forgive the Hawks. The Hawks have a lot of firepower. They have guys that can shoot out the park. And then they have a dude by the name of Lou Williams coming off the bench who can go off at any moment. Um, what game one showed me is that Trae Young is not afraid of Madison Square Garden. He's not afraid of all the noise. That's not going to get him to stop doing what he's doing. He's going to come out there and he's going to ball. He's going to put on a show that we know that he can. I expect Julius Randle to have a better night. I expect him to be in the post more, being aggressive, attacking the rim. But I'm going to say it's going to be a close game. I'm going to say Hawks pull out just all that too much firepower. They just have way too much firepower for the Knicks. And the Knicks only have like 2 or 3 guys that can get a bucket. And then the Hawks have too many guys that can get a bucket. But hey, that's that game. Let's roll on to the next one. Man, we got a lot of good playoff. I think this is the best first round playoff matchup that we've had in a while. Let's go to the Bucks and Heat. Hey, the Bucks are up 2 games right now. The first one was a very close game, a game winner by Middleton. Now the second game was not too close at all. I believe they won by like 34, 38 points the second game. We need Jimmy Butler to step up and show us why he's Jimmy Butler, why we call him Jimmy Buckets. You need to step up. You need to give us 25 to 30 points a night. We need you to play elite defense because you're going against a team that you beat last year in the playoffs. And we definitely need they definitely need to play Tyler Hero more than 10 minutes as well. They need to step up. They need to play like they're who they are, and show us why. And show us why. Dwayne Wade wanted you to come to Miami and help. This franchise get back in championship mode. Jonathan, what's your thoughts on that matchup?
Would you say that the Miami Heat are having a hard time against the Bucks because the Bucks are really hungry this time? Would you also say that the Bucks feel like they have unfinished business because people have been talking over and over constantly about how they can't get it done in the playoffs, how they are a great regular season team, but when it comes playoff time, they can't, get into playoff mode? That's what people are always talking about. I think the Bucks are tired of people talking about them. And I think Giannis is hungry to win a championship. He's poised, he's athletic, and one can argue that he's the best big man in the game, if not one of the best out there, So, the Bucks, man, they feel like they got unfinished business, and they're going out there and they're taking care of their business, And the Miami Heat, man, the same team that went to the finals a year ago, it looks like they just disappeared at the worst possible time. This is a team that dealt with injuries all season long. This is a team that haven't been able to get into that offensive flow that we had been accustomed to seeing. And yes, Jimmy Buckets is going to have to make some buckets, and he's going to have to take over the game in some situations. He hasn't been doing that. So, the Miami Heat just doesn't look like that same team that could get back to the finals. And I think this year the Bucks are looking to make a loud statement, and they have so far in this series, which is why they lead 2-0.
All right. Before we close the show out, I want to make a statement. And Jonathan, you can respond if you want to. If you don't, you don't have to. Conway Brown. Shut your mouth up. Shut up. Ain't nobody caring about you no more. Like, you retired. Like, you was a bum. You was a bust. Like, so what? Like, if you don't want people to call you that, then act and play right. Get out there. You should have handled your business when you had the chance. How do you shut somebody up? You don't shut them up by what you're saying. They don't care about that. You shut them up about your actions. You should go out there and say, you know what? I'm going to prove you wrong. And he didn't prove nobody wrong. And right now you look weak. Matt Barnes called you out to come on to All the Smoke. He said you can box before the show, during the show, after, and you totally ran from him. So I don't want to hear you. Yes, your talk sound hard. But your walk seem weak. So yeah, I mean, you didn't live up to expectations, and you can come for me because I'm not afraid to come at you.
He's roasted everybody from members of the media to former NBA players. He is not having it right now. And he is frankly speaking his mind and telling the world how he feels about all these guys who doubted him and who called him names and who didn't give him a chance to be this superstar player. Crummy Brown, though, man, let's be real here. He has a lot of personal issues going on. I think that's obvious. I think that affected his ability on the court. I think that affected his game and his mind mentally, and that's why he wasn't able to, live up to those expectations when he was in the NBA. So, you know what? I'm just gonna say I wish him all the best, and I hope that that he can whatever's bothering him or troubling him, that he can overcome it. He's obviously upset. I think he's made that clear in these videos that he's been doing. He's obviously, angry, and he's been ranting in all these videos. And maybe it's for some clicks, maybe it's for some hits, maybe it's for some attention. Maybe he got a new deal or something, and he's trying to make money through podcasts or something. I don't really know the guy's life story right now, but I'm just gonna sit back and not be so critical of him, because we don't really know what his mind is like right now. We really don't know what the man is mentally going through.
Hey, Jonathan, he's going at everybody else, but I know one person he's not going at is he was afraid to go at him when he's his teammate. And if Kobe Bryant was alive, I bet he wouldn't go at Kobe. He's not going at Michael Jordan. I bet he wouldn't go at Kobe because he knew them dudes wasn't gonna play with.
Well, maybe if Kobe was alive, maybe Kobe could sit down with him and actually have a great conversation.
You knew Kobe wasn't doing that, bro. Kobe,
yeah, but I mean, after retirement, maybe Kobe could have been that one guy that got through to him. If nobody else, you never know, man. You never know.
Couldn't stand how you say his name, Brian. He couldn't stand him at all. I remember what he used to say about that dude. Like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. But I don't see him going at Michael Jordan like that because he know Michael Jordan would fire back.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. He's choosing his battles wisely.
Yeah.
And he's going at people that's not going to respond. Skip Bayless, Chris Broussard, Stephen A. Smith. None of those guys are going to respond. Matt Barnes is going to respond because that's just who he is. He's a guy that would, fire back at you.
Hey, Matt Barnes, the guy that get in his car and go to you. You ask Derek.
Yeah, he'll drive 95 miles just to fight you. So,
hey,
talk your talk and walk your walk.
Stephen A. He tweeted out that basically said the same thing that you are. Clearly, this dude is going through something, whatever. But
yeah, he is. I think he is. I think so.
But hey, man, this is another episode. I know it got a little comical to our viewers at the end, but hey, we had to cover it because it is NBA related. He's a former NBA player, so hey, this is another episode of Just Say the Truth. I got my dude Jonathan Mathis on here. Hey, tune into the playoff games tonight. There's gonna be some post game shows tonight. Just tune into that as well. You guys have a wonderful night, and we are out.
Take care, everyone.
Oh, I didn't click though.